On March 31, 2024, an unusual calendar overlap occurred. The annual Transgender Day of Visibility landed on exactly the same date as Easter Sunday. The coincidence ignited immediate political blowback. Conservative commentators and politicians framed the calendar overlap as a deliberate assault on the Christian faith, positioning the holiday's date as a targeted provocation. This rhetoric quickly materialized into federal policy. By February 2025, the incoming administration issued an executive order aimed at eradicating anti-Christian bias, explicitly citing the previous year's holiday overlap as its primary justification. The momentum reached the global stage just before the 2026 Day of Visibility. The International Olympic Committee announced a sweeping policy change, officially banning transgender women from competing in female categories at the 2028 Los Angeles Games. The proximity of these events, from the calendar dispute to the Olympic arena, reveals a series of synchronized maneuvers within a specific ideological framework. When Transgender Day of Visibility was founded in 2009, the goal was celebration. Until then, the community's most prominent annual event was a day of remembrance dedicated to mourning victims of violence. This new holiday was designed to honor those still living. But some activists, particularly Black abolitionists, warned that being seen is not a guarantee of safety. They argued that pushing a vulnerable population into the public eye without offering structural protections simply paints a target on their backs. That warning materialized in the current political climate. As transgender people became more visible in media and public life, political movements seized on that exposure, using it to rally opposition and draft restrictive legislation. Without legal and institutional power to back it up, hypervisibility provides the exact coordinates needed for a coordinated legislative attack. The 2026 Olympic ban illustrates how these attacks operate. To enforce the new rules, the committee mandated one-time genetic testing for women competing in any of their events to verify their biological sex. Medical professionals widely reject this kind of genetic screening as unreliable. Historically, it functions as a modern version of archaic virginity testing, a practice designed to force women to prove their virtue by surrendering their bodily autonomy. This gender policing inevitably affects cisgender women who do not fit Western conventions of femininity. During the Paris 2024 Olympics, Algerian boxer Iman Khalif faced a massive wave of false accusations regarding her gender, fueled by her departure from traditional physical archetypes. Taiwanese boxer Lim Yu-ting endured the same intense scrutiny. Both women were gold medalists who found themselves at the center of a movement determined to define exactly how a female athlete should look and behave. The push for institutional verification on the global stage enforces strict traditional gender roles on all female bodies. This focus on gender conformity is part of a broader MAGA movement centered on patriarchal white supremacy. The movement aims to preserve the social and demographic influence of straight, white Christian families against a diversifying workforce. You can see this reflected in reproductive policy. Restricting reproductive care and gender-affirming care specifically serves a desire to increase the white population. Forcing white women to carry pregnancies to term is a stated goal in a movement that fears demographic decline. This demographic project extends to economic policy, specifically the attack on state-supported childcare. Defunding these services forces women out of the workforce and back into the role of a trad wife, whose primary function is domestic care for white men and children. Immigration policy completes the blueprint. The movement has prioritized the mass deportation of non-white immigrants, while explicitly expressing a yearning for white European immigrants, ensuring that demographic shifts are halted or reversed. These policies build towards a single outcome: a society where the power to define one's own body and access economic independence is reserved for straight, white Christian men. The outrage over a holiday date or an Olympic ban are surface-level skirmishes in a much larger proxy war. They are points of entry for an agenda that aims to reorganize society by policing identity. You don't have to be transgender to be threatened by this ideological machinery. Once a system is established to police biology and restrict autonomy, it will eventually target anyone who falls outside its narrow demographic ideal. The struggles for transgender rights, reproductive freedom, affordable childcare, and immigrant protections share the same structural goal. They are all nodes in a single fight for the right to self-definition. Defending the visibility of marginalized groups is an act of self-preservation. It is the necessary first step in rejecting forced conformity and protecting the right to bodily autonomy for everyone.